Welcome into another edition of Wizards WNBA Rundown, brought to you by wizardsportspicks.com. My name is Joey Tron. Joined with me here is Kevin Thomas. We're going to break down all the games going on for Friday, May the 15th. But with that being said, Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Joe. Good to have me on the show. I appreciate that so much, and excited to kick some butt in WNBA. Slow start in the first opener, but since then it's been smooth sailing. So hopefully we can get this public here some free winners, and then get them to buy our premium picks, the ones we love.
Yeah, man. It's always great to have you on the show. But let's get right into it. Like I said, we got 4 games on the docket for Friday night. First one up is the Las Vegas Aces going up against the Connecticut Sun. The Aces are laying 14.5 points with a total of 170.5. Kevin, how do you feel about this one?
Well, we just saw this matchup, right? And it was
Mhm.
a pretty big blowout. The Aces, started the season with that loss against the Mercury and kind of shell shocked them, but they were probably the most consistent team with the players they kept, adding uh, Kennedy Carter, which I thought was a great pickup she was kind of kicked off the sky, went overseas, and then came back, but she's putting up like 19 points a game. We all talked about it. We don't think the Suns really going to do much this year, kind of a stomping ground, but it is a lot of points, and the public seems to like the Aces. But if I'm forced to pick this game, which I don't love, I would go with the Aces. I just think the Sun, they're just not they're just not going. A little bit older, it's just not meshing right now for me. And now, like I said, the Aces team after that first loss, they turned it up, and their last 2 wins, I think, have been by 20 plus points. So
Mhm.
I think we could see more of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it is a lot of points. We did just see Aces blow out against the Sun, winning by 29 last time they played. So there will be a little bit of a revenge factor for the Sun involved there. So with that, I like the over 170.5 here. Aces had 51 rebounds, clearly showing they have the rebounding edge. They dominated in the paint. The Sun, they lack the size and physicality that the Aces have. But my worry with the high number spread is garbage time, man. Once garbage time comes, you see a lot of points being scored. And I'm worried that 13 and a half points, well, I'm sorry, the 14 and a half will slowly become a backdoor cover. And that's what makes me really like this over 170.5 with these two teams.
Yeah, I'm seeing the juice up to like 112 on that, but it's way too much. That's why it wouldn't be a premium for me. It's just way too much public action on the Aces. Like I'm seeing 66% right now,
That's a
uh,
lot.
and that's way too much for me. The total, though, this Aces team has lived with the defense, and if the Connecticut Sun are going to cover this spread, it's not going to be that high because the Aces would probably drop 100 on them. So if this spread's going to cover, then that means you're going to have the Connecticut Sun scoring close to 90 points, and I just don't see that happening. So this would be a hard pass for me. Probably be the Aces. I hate the hook. That's probably where the books are going to look to get that hook, but yeah, it would be a hard pass or the Aces. The total, I would definitely look at the under. I think we've seen so many overs in the first 3 games, but yeah, I remember there was no preseason WNBA. They play like one game because most of these girls are overseas playing. We're still missing some of these girls because they're in contracts with overseas and fighting those to get out of those. So yeah, I don't know. What is the total? I didn't even see that. The number you said
Oh,
170.
170.5. 170 and a
Yeah,
half, yeah.
that's kind of low. I mean, if I like the Aces, and yeah, and I think they could score 100, that could hit. Yeah, that's a possibility, Joe. Maybe that's the way I would go on this one.
There's just
It'd be a
better
no go.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah, much better games on the slate than this one, in my opinion.
yeah.
Like the next one coming up, this is a good one. We got the Washington Mystics coming out here to my home city of Indianapolis to take on the Fever. Fever laying 8.5 points with a total of 170.5. I'm gonna go first if you don't mind here.
No.
I love the Fever here. I don't care if I sound like a homer. I think this is a great spot for them. They have one of the fastest paced offenses in basketball, and that's because of Clayton Clark's transition pressure. Her and Sophie Cunningham looked great out against the Wings. Not against the Wings, I'm sorry, against the Sparks. They shot 49% from the field and 30% from 3 point, showing the ceiling that this Fever offense actually has when they're on their A game. Their defense looked great as well. They were forcing turnovers. And honestly, the Mystics, they scored 93 points last time out. Granted, it went to overtime. It was against the Liberty. But a big contributing factor to the reason they scored so many points, they had 29 free throws. And with that being said, they went 19% from 3 point, almost sub 40% from the field. I think the Fever win this one by 10 or more.
I agree with you. I think that spread is a bait. The Fever lost that first game to the Wings. People were like questioning them at home. We knew Caitlin Clark. She missed all last season, right? So we knew it was going to be slow. She's hit or miss with her three. She's going to take them, and if she misses, then the games are close. But this kind of game where she's not going to get a lot of pressure at the guard position. This Mystics team's built for down low in the rim and stuff with Kiki, and then picking up bets. So I like the under in this game, actually, because it just seems like a sucker number, 170. Everyone's going to like, oh, man, the Fever are going to drop 1,000 points on the Mystics. But the one thing the Mystics they are a good defensive team. They are young. I don't think they're going to score a lot of points here because I think the Fever's defense is underrated. I said they're a top 3 defense. Game 1 was just an anomaly because, like I said, Caitlin Clark, there just wasn't no chemistry. And then now you can see them starting to build. So I do like the Fever laying the points, and I do like the under in this game as well.
Oh, yeah. And I really think that that first game for the Fever, it was a rough spot for them. They lost. They got the rust off. I think this is going to be a statement game for them.
Yeah.
Next game up is the Chicago Sky taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Mercury are 4.5-point favorites with a total of 166.5. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's such a big spread. I guess because of the home court at 4.5. These kind of teams remind me of each other. You got the Phoenix Mercury who have Alyssa Thomas, who I think is arguably the two best player after AJ Wilson when it comes around to the defense and the offense. I think she's phenomenal. We saw them win game 1 against the Aces, and then they dropped their second game. I still think the Mercury are short a couple players, especially when they lost Sabali, her size. So it's kind of a toss-up for me here. It's not a premium. If I had to go with it, I would take Chicago because I love that hook, the 4.5. I think it's like a 4-point game here. Chicago Sky, they proved that they moved on from Angel Reese in a hurry. They picked up some solid players, and they can play ball. And I think they were already on the West Coast, so it can't even have any travel in there. Lottie's. I think then one of the next games we're going to talk about, you can actually talk about the travel. But this one here, I would go with the Chicago Sky. It looks like a lot of people are on the Mercury, but these are early lines, and I'm using SBT or SBR, and it's so old. It's so old, and you don't get enough WNBA bets. Like I use Action as well. I was using Odds Logic. I dropped that, but I'm looking at that 60, and usually these numbers are pretty good, for what the public's going, and it's not awful a lot of bets. So I would definitely look at the Chicago Sky here if I'm forced to pick it. I think my premium pick's going to be on that last game we talked about. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So talking about this one, yes, the Sky, they just beat Golden State, so they are still on the West Coast, so there is no travel factor at all for that one. But I like the under here. I was dead wrong about the Sky. I personally didn't think the Sky were going to do much of anything, especially on the defensive side. But I'm dead wrong, man. They looked great against Golden State. They have a really physical defense, and that's going to prove a lot against the Phoenix Mercury. Mercury like to play down low. They like to work the ball in the paint. And I think the Sky's defense, especially their front court, is really going to give them a hard time getting to the rim, getting points in the hoop. Chicago's defense, again, I think they have a really high ceiling. We saw it last game against Golden State, and I don't think there's any reason why they can't replicate that against an inconsistent Mercury offense. So I got a really strong lean here to that under 166.
Yeah, I like that too. There's a reason it's 166. You know what I mean? Because we've been seeing 90s and 80s across the board.
Yeah,
it's only been like three. There's only been like 3 games that have been in the 60s. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on that under as well. And I would definitely lean towards the Chicago Sky covering that spread.
Dude, I can see that like a 75-70 game. Low scoring, couple free throws late that'll decide it, and I like that Sky play as well. All right, last game up for Friday night. We got the Toronto Tempo heading out to Los Angeles to take on the Sparks. The Sparks are laying 6.5 points with a total of 171.5. I personally like the Tempo here. I think the Tempo with the points is my personal best lean here in this one. I'm not impressed by the Sparks at all. They had back-to-back poor offensive showings. They're not utilizing Cameron Brink, and I understand she's coming off an injury, but she's fully healthy. She stated she's healthy. She wants to play. They're just not using her. And that offense is really showing because she's a big playmaker in their chemistry, and she's just not there. Not only that, despite a 1-1 record, I think the Tempo are much better than just a 500 team through just 2 games. They have strong defense, and I think they're going to create plenty of turnovers, which will help us out with that 6.5 number. They also have that rebounding advantage, so I'm leaning heavily towards the Tempo with the 6.5 points.
Yeah, you're talking about 6.5. I mean, this thing opened at 8.5, almost 9. So
yeah, it's going down.
And I liked what LA Sparks did, bringing in players, but they also lost some key contributors on the outside for shooting. So yeah, I have to agree with you here with Toronto. I think that's a solid number. I wish I could have got it in the 7s, but yeah, that's 6.5. That 6.5 seems like a good solid number. I would look at that under as well too. I think LA, they back in the day they were all about offense. So I know they made some moves to shore up their defense and Tempo. I think they're going to have to rely on defense to keep this close. So I look at that under as well. I
think sprinkling Tempo money line is worth it too. I think they're a live dog. I really do.
That sounds like a premium for you then, buddy.
Dude, it might be.
You don't want to give those out.
But okay, those are the 4 games that we have for Friday, May 15th. Kevin, please tell the viewers if they're looking for some premium picks, where can they find you?
Oh, you got to head over to wizardsportspicks.com. As we get top premium picks, you get your packages, your 3-day, 7-day, 30-day. You can still get your WNBA season pass. We're only just started. I started slow, but man, I've been kicking them down since then. So head over to Wizard Sports Picks. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tons of great. Joe is doing a phenomenal job. You got guys like Wes and Tom. Everyone's putting the time in. There's everyone I can name if I could, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. There's tons of guys over there. But I want to give it out. I forgot, if you're a prop guy, right? We're going to go back to that Mercury game. Alyssa Thomas in her last game, she was 2 of 10. And she had like 6 of 13 from the charity stripe. Horrible numbers for her. She only had 10 points. Look at her for a double-double. Look at her for her points to go up. Maybe if you can do points and rebounds together, somewhere around 26. But double-double. Focus on Alyssa Thomas. That don't mean they're going to win the game, but she usually bounces it back. She usually doesn't have that bad of a shooting night. It was horrible for her. So there's another free one for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. And if you're looking for any of my premium selections, just like Kevin said, head on over to wizardsportspicks.com. Check out the leaderboard. Look for NHL or WNBA. That's where you'll find me. And again, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and you'll be notified anytime one of these talented cappers over at Wizard Sports Picks drops a video to this channel. Again, thanks for joining me, Kevin, and let's cash some tickets.
Thank you, Joe.